So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. I think I had discussed some source codes last day. Okay, there is some mistake. Today we will discuss some practical aspects regarding string because I haven't discussed last day the string, only the structure, union, this type of things I have discussed. Uh, so string. So, for handling string, you have to use additional header file. Okay. Sorry. String.h. I think I haven't discussed dynamic memory. Did I discuss? I discussed, but I haven't practically shown you.
No, sir.
Oh, I haven't shown it. I think it will be much better before string because string analytics like dynamic memory. So I think I should rename that file dynamic memory. For dynamic array, actually we need to have one pointer, an array, and we need to use malloc function, malloc or calloc, whatever. I have already discussed. So first of all, I am writing the dynamic memory. Then I will write the declaration part. Okay. So let us. I want the dynamic memory of size. Okay, I will not specify the size since it is dynamic. User will specify. So enter size of when percent and percent n. Uh, Actually, this requires the declaration of ampersand n. So int n. Okay. Any problem to understand this? Next, I need one pointer. E equal to integer star. You check the syntax. Hello. In star size of a. Okay. So this is actually the way we handle. So since this is a pointer, I think it should be capital P. So I will declare a pointer, integer to pointer. Okay. So you can declare it together also because these two integer n integer star p, so you can also declare in this way. Okay, no problem. Any problem to understand this?
Sir, Malloc statement, if you can explain once again.
Malloc statement, actually malloc is a function, library function. It is used for allocating dynamic memory. That means dynamic memory means actually the allotment is as per the requirement of user. Since user supplies the size of dynamic array, let's say user supplies 10. So n equals to 10, so it will allocate 10 multiplied by size of integer. Integer occupies 4 bytes, so 10 into 4, 40 bytes it allocates. That means the size for accommodating 10 integer. So similarly, if user supplies 2, then it will be 2 multiplied by 4, then it will be a size to accommodate 2 integers. So in this way, actually, we are saving the unnecessary memory allocation. Sometimes we allocate memory, but we cannot use it. That is very obvious because sometimes we don't know how much memory is required for our operation. So these type of things are the solution for that. Now, actually, I go for into more explanation. Let us create one step. My graphics tablet is not available here, so that's why I am using this paint. Okay, so it will be like this type of things actually. So P will be pointing to the base address of the dynamic memory, and it will have number of integers as per the choice given by the user. This is in this way actually we deal with, and we'll increment the size. We'll increment p, and we can also decrement p. But problem is, since the p is the indicator of the start of the memory, so we should not increment p because otherwise the location is lost. The start location is lost. Starting location. So rather we'll take another pointer initially whose value is equal to p, but we may use this pointer to move forward and backward for accessing the location. So we need one another pointer q. I haven't declared that thing. Q equal to p. That means content of key means the address of this location. So now Q will also contain the address of the first cell of the dynamic memory. Then we will try to move forward and backward. Okay, so this should be our strategy. Uh, okay, I think I have missed one thing. STD lead. I have to use one file. Header file std lead dot h. That is for using malloc standard library. Okay. So I equal to 0, sorry 1, I less than equal to n, I plus plus. I am creating one loop. Okay, so I, this is actually the yes, these are your declaration. I am writing the declaration later as per the requirement. Now I will increment key and I will take the value from user and send it to the appropriate location. So how do we do this? We have to take the value from user. If you cannot understand, please ask the question. Don't hesitate. Okay. If you hesitate, you cannot learn. Any problem to understand this section? Any problem to understand this section?
No, sir.
Actually, since n is given by the user, so if n equal to let's say 10, so it runs from 1 to 10. That means it will move, it will take the value, insert into it, into the location that is pointed by Q, and then I am moving key forward. Okay. So in this way, actually, the information is inserted. Now I need to print the information. Now, can anybody tell me why is it only Q, not ampersand Q?
Q is pointer.
Q is pointer, it
It
holds the
already
address.
has address.
That's why it should be only Q, not ampersand. Okay. Now, I have to read the information from the location. Otherwise, how can I check that the information is properly inserted or not? So this is writing something into that dynamic array. Now I am reading the information back. I like to take it into some variable and print it on the screen. Okay. So what happened? I can use the same counter, no problem, because it is still being initialized from 1. Okay. Now here enter value is not required. Rather, I need to print each of the values. But Q is to be initialized because when you have incremented Q, it should be at the last location and then it has been incremented and current position of the Q is right here. Okay. So unless you bring it back to the beginning, you cannot read. Okay. Or if you just decrement and start decrementing and go down and go back up to the beginning, then you will get traverse the elements in reverse order. That may not be the intention. If you require this type of application, that is okay. But right now I am trying to read it from beginning to the end. Okay. So for that, I think definitely we need to use printf. Here it should be tell me. Before that, we need to once again initialize. That is nothing but bring it back into the beginning. Okay. Now tell me, is that statement correct or is there any mistake? Is this statement correct? Tell me. Printf %d, q. If it is correct,
Sir,
then tell me yes. Otherwise, no.
sir, arrow.
Huh? Any arrow,
There will be, so there will be asterisk q.
asterisk, star key. Because I am going to access the content, not the address. Okay. So hopefully this will serve our purpose. Let us try. So this problem, I don't know, warning comes. Return type. Okay. What is actually? Now let me zoom in little bit. It is asking the size of dynamic array. For the timing I put 3. Now it is asking value. Let's say it is 10, then it is 46, then it is 89. So, so it has been inserted into the appropriate location. If you check this instruction, it has been inserted. Now, if I can read it back, then I am successful to use the dynamic. Okay, let's check. Maybe if there is any mistake, I cannot. I can read, but there should be a space. Otherwise, it looks a complete whole. Now, it actually digits together looks like a number. It's not like the number is not so big. So that's why I must provide some space. Otherwise, the operation is okay. I think. So here, if I provide some space, then it will be much better. Okay. Now let us run once again. It's some sort of cosmetic change. It's not very logical change. So this time consider six values. Okay. So enter value 12, then 47, then 89, then 90, then you can take also negative value, no problem. Minus 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, no problem. Now, what is it? 12, 47, 89, 90, minus 7, 10. Any problem to understand this code? Just analyze the output. And if you have any doubt, please tell me, no problem. Check it thoroughly. If there is any problem, please tell me. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So hopefully you can use it because last time I used the dynamic array of size 3, right now it is 6, can be 10, 20, 100, whatever. But it will not uh, actually cause any type of waste of memory or memory leak. I don't like to explain that term because you are not familiar with that kind of thing. So ultimately, you require the memory or you have to allocate the memory as per your requirement, not beyond that. So you don't need to keep any excess memory for some operation. Now I am just changing the syntax instead of malloc, I am using calloc. But here this time it will be n comma size of it. Just see the syntax is like. Okay, let us keep all this together. Otherwise, it will be confused. Okay, have you noticed the change between these two statements? This one and this one. Have you noticed the change?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is actually the name of the function which is different and it requires two arguments and it requires one argument. That's why we need to multiply. But here, since we can, it requires two arguments, we can separately supply the number of elements and size of that. Instead of that, I can also directly supply 4. Or here actually it will be 2 because it is window based compiler. So there should not be any problem. Okay, let us run. Let's say it is 3, enter value 34, 56, 77. Do you find any difference in output? I think there is no such difference in output. So use any of these, either of these, no problem. Just you have to know how to use it. Okay. Hopefully, this example clarifies. Okay. Now we'll move into the string operation. So, since this part is over, we open a string operation. Start. Okay, just wait. Let us increase the size. I think size may be issue for some people. Font size, I think. Okay, there is a function. You the environment editor option. From here, there is the option to increase font size. Hmm. Now, for that, earlier I have mentioned that you need to have another header file. What is the name of that header file? String.h. Okay. Now, how do we declare a string? Can you recall and tell me? These concepts are very important.
Sir, can you please repeat?
How do we declare a string?
Sir, character array.
Exactly. Character array. Let's say make it str of size 20. So if I can set its value, then it is okay. Otherwise, we can also take the value from user. Let us take it from user. Later, we will set the value. Okay. So in every case, we need to know the dynamic. It's safe to use getf because you can use also scanf, but there is some drawback. There is a drawback I have already mentioned. I don't like to repeat that thing again. Now let us check if I can print. So basic input output, if it is clear, then we can do any type of processing between these two statements. You can do anything, but we'll right now shift the entire burden into a separate function because string handling requires some complication. Maybe in your main giving application, there are lots of other challenges. So together that if you put all sort of string operation, it will be difficult for you to manage. So we'll use the function, but first of all, we'll check that if my system or my source code is capable of reading string and printing string. Okay. Let's say what maybe the address of institute, let's say IIEST space India. Let us make it the address. So I think it prints successfully. Okay. So basic reading and writing possible. Any doubt with this approach? So within these, you can do any type of operation. Okay. You can most basic operation is counting number of characters. Okay. So let us do it. But before doing, I must send that thing into a function. For that, I need one pointer. But without pointer, we can also do this. Maybe since it is basically it's an array, so without a pointer, when you send it into the function, it behaves like call by array. So that is also possible, I think. So let us prepare one prototype for it. String process. Let us do this in this way. Okay. We do some sort of processing here. I'm not specifying, it's a generalized type of thing. But if it is reverse of a string, if it is counting number of characters, if it is joining two strings together, whatever, maybe. But right now I make it string process. Okay. So here I have to use the same thing. If you face any problem, if you have any doubt, please raise the question, otherwise you cannot understand. Okay. If you hesitate, you cannot understand. Okay. Now, following this prototype, we have to define the function. This name may be different. This name may be different. Let us, you can make it S, no problem. Okay. Now, let us check if we can access that string successfully here. Okay. So let us make it. Let us print it. Okay. And before that, we write from start. Such that you can understand if it is really printing from function or from string process, better to say, because main is also a function. Let us check if the communication is okay or not. If there is a problem in communication, that means sending information into the function or returning, it's not returning, but ultimately, if it is not properly reflecting, then there must be a problem with the communication. So that thing has to be handled first. Then we will go for any type of processing. Processing is not a big issue. We set one pointer at the beginning like dynamic array, and we can move forward and backward and do whatever is like. But here actually you have to start executing. Let us check. From string process function IIST India, from main IIST India. Any problem to understand this? Up to this, if it is clear, rest of the thing will also be clear. Just take it.
Clear, sir.
Clear. Since it's a practical approach, we have to understand step by step. It should not be very, you should not rush on, because you have to thoroughly understand, otherwise you cannot accurately decompose your problem. So, string process, okay. Now I am making a very tiny change. I will change the first character to small letter, okay. So just just I am trying to check if there is any reflection. Okay. So S0, I am trying to change it to small letter. Okay. So I am making it small I, and I will supply capital I, and if it is converted into small I, then I think a change is also reflected in the main function. And definitely it should be, because we have dealt with the integer array last time. The integer array behaved like this. Okay. So, uh, actually my I haven't properly organized the input and output. That is the problem. We may face some difficulty to understand. So that's why I try to organize. Okay. Any problem to understand this? Because if you see the input IIST India, and here the output from string function and output from main. So I think we had made the change in string function, but that is also reflected in main. So maybe
Yes,
we
sir.
don't need to send any function pointer here. It's behaving like call by address.
Sir, can you explain this?
Which one?
Sir,
Uh,
how is it behaving like call by address? Because
because we have made this modification here in the string process function, but we haven't done it anything. But had it been called by value, so it should not be reflected here because for call by value it sends the copy of the value and that is uh, modified, and finally we when we return we don't have any reflection of that value. But here actually we are getting the reflection because this change is reflected here. So that's why the change is done in the, we can claim that change is being done in the actual location, or it's using the address of the string. It's not using just a copy of the characters on the string. Okay. So that's why it is called by address. That means parameter passing mechanism is using the address of str, not just a copy of the characters available in the str. So if you recall call by value and call by address, the difference between these two and the example we had discussed in the last class, so I think you can understand. Whatever, so if we need to process something, we have to send the string in this way, and then we have to, we don't need to print here because these are for testing. We will print it in the main function, just we will do some processing. Let us count. Now, counting number of characters, yes, that is also possible. Let us count number of characters available in the string. Okay. So how can we count number of characters available in a string? Very simple. Actually, we
by
set one
pointer,
pointer and it will move up to the null of the string, because last character of the string is null. This one. So it will move up to the null and it will continuously count number of characters. Okay. So that should be the strategy. If you don't understand, please tell me. I am trying to write the instruction. Okay. Hmm. So for that we need one character pointer. Okay. Now sorry, should not be here. Star p not equal to null. This should be the criteria. So while star p not equal to null, so in this, within this pair of braces, or within this block, I think pair of braces in programming or any such type of programming is called block. Okay. In this block, what do we write? Uh, will increment one variable. Let's say the variable is L, but L has some garbage quantity when I declare. So to avoid this garbage, you have to initialize to 0. Okay. So as long as it moves and the character is not null, that means as long as it is not the end of the string, then we will increment. And finally, we have to return n to the main function. But there is one problem. If I do this, there is one problem. Can you tell me what is the problem?
So return
Sir,
type
we
is
have to increment b
Return
also.
P also has that is very important issue. We have to increment, otherwise it will stationary. It will never reach the null, and it will keep incrementing. So we have to increment P also. No, that is okay. And there is also a problem with the return type, because the point this function is not returning anything, but here I am forcing to return an integer value. So it should not be like this. It should return integer. If it is returning integer, then this prototype cannot be acceptable. So we have to change the prototype, and here also we need to have another variable. Let's say this is length. We have to declare length here. Okay. So after that, I can print str, and not only that, I can also print the value of length. So any problem with this code?
sir star p is initialized.
Star key here. Star key is not initialized. That is the problem. That is the problem. You have raised a very important issue. That's why, yes, you can write ampersand is 0, or you can write simple s. I'm writing both of these. You can write either of these. Okay. It is initialized. That means it is holding the address of the base. Address of the string. Holding the base address of the string. Okay. Any other problem if you can find in the code? Okay, hopefully there is no such problem, but if any other problem comes or arises, you can check it out. I'm using the same string. So how many characters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Space is also a character. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So answer should be 11. So this one. So we can very easily access string. We can do any type of function. Now tell me if you have any doubt regarding this code. If I ask you that, let's say the string is IIEST, then how many I's are available? How many I's? Not the number of characters. Only to count how many I's are available. Okay. IIEST index in this case. So how can you do this? Any idea?
Sir, make a copy of the string and then convert it into either lowercase or uppercase,
Hmm.
and then check uh, the if condition.
Hmm. Exactly. So we'll not directly increment here. We'll check if star key equal to capital I or you can also deal with the ASCII value, no problem. If you like to do it using ASCII value, that is also. I'm trying to make it easier. Okay. So any problem? I think there is no such unbalanced currency.
Sir, star p equals to.
It's not assignment. It's the relational operator. If it is equals to, then maybe it is optional here, but still for some people it is challenging. So I better write the pair of this. Okay. Is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Just
Yes, sir.
now I will not write string length here. I will write number of I or I, whatever. So how much time is left? You tell me. Uh, I don't know. Maybe 15 minutes. So within 5 minutes, I will end up. First of all, I am using the input with all capital I, then we will mix up little bit. We will mix small I and capital I. So is that output correct? Is this output correct? Check it.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Now I am running it once again. Sorry. which time I am providing a mix of small I and capital I. So IIEST E, okay, two small, two capital. Still it is four because it can also distinguish. It cannot distinguish small I and capital I. But if I like to make it case sensitive, so maybe I can remove it. Now let us check what happens. Mirror on output. Um, let's say this is your input. So is this output correct? Check it. Is this output correct? Check it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I hopefully you can understand and do some operation with the string. So for the time being, you may leave the class. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.